What's up, guys? This is Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm here today at Lexus in Wesley Chapel. Carlos has given us the 2021 Lexus NX 300 F Sport in the ultrasonic blue. The cutting-edge design, premium luxury features, F Sport styling, technology, Lexus safety that adds up to this compact SUV with F Sport tuned suspension. In a time where small SUVs are in demand, it's nice to see that you could get this much sport, bringing us to the new generation. Is this better than the Acura RDX or the Mercedes-Benz GLA 250? Does this not only bring the style, but pack the performance just like them? We're gonna go over all the specs and details, starting now. Lexus next generation headlamps bring out this NX 300 F Sport with the triple beam premium LED adaptive front lights. Working down this sport bumper, you're going to get the non-functional vents here on the side, but it gives a nice aesthetic flair to it. Your LED fog lamps underneath with the metal look across the lower spoiler, integrating that Lexus symbol with the massive grille with the mesh inserts. You get the dark chrome around it, flat hood with just enough aerodynamics to give that sport look. A width of 73.6 inches, a height of 64.8 inches. Ground clearance, even though you have a little bit of a spoiler lip, 6.9 inches, so you can go get your groceries without any issues at all. The windscreen, it's going to be more slope with the black to keep that performance in the front fascia, the matte black around the wheel wells, inside with 18-inch 10-spoke alloy wheels. The front disc reading at 11.7 inches, the rear at 11.2 inches. F Sport badging, chrome across all the window trims, and even adding really good detail touches to the side view mirror cap, putting it right here so whenever the mirrors are closed, you keep those lines flowing. The aerodynamic structure that they put really does set a nice tone. You got the lower scuff plate, that's a matte black. That's gonna help for rock chips or anything like that. Now the Acura RDX and the Lexus are gonna have very similar styling here on the side. Brake actuated limited slip differential, a front and rear performance dampering, F Sport, tuned suspension, independent McPherson strut front suspension, independent double wishbone rear suspension, both with coil springs, gas pressurized shock absorbers, a length at 182.7 inches with a wheelbase at 104.7 inches. I like the way everything just proportions very smoothly because the front doesn't really flare the fenders, but the rear gives more of that aggressive attitude with your LED brake lights. Here's where you can tell this is a Lexus besides the front fascia, the slope-styled look to the roof. It's a flat roof, but more of a floating roof design. You got the spoiler lip with the high gloss black polish, and you got the shark fin antenna. The proportions, like I was saying, just flare to give that sports essence. Dual exhaust with chrome tailpipe finishers, shaped rectangular. There's no tow package here, but you could tow up to 2,000 pounds. Front and rear parking sensor, reverse camera, F Sport badging right here to let you know what this vehicle's all about. You have your power tailgate or kick to open. Going inside to your cargo at 17.7 cubic feet. There's storage underneath the floor. You got a spare tire underneath that, 12-volt charger. Put the rear seats down at a 60-40 split fold, maxing your cargo to 54.6 cubic feet. Performance backing this Lexus NX 300 is a 2.0-liter inline four-cylinder twin-scroll turbocharged, producing 235 horsepower with 258 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive paired with a 6-speed sequential shift automatic electronic controlled transmission with intelligence, or your ECTI. Add all-wheel drive around 14 $1,500. This is good for a 0 to 60 at 7.2 seconds. A top speed 125 miles per hour and getting 22 to 28 mpgs. Now this does back more performance than your Acura RDX and your Volvo XC40. You're going to get your Lexus Safety System 2.0. That's your blind spot with the rear cross traffic alert, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, automatic high beams. Does this F-Sport package pack the exterior styling and the performance punch that you're looking for? Is this going to be better than the rivals? We're going to see in the test drive, but let me know what you think of the exterior of this 2021 Lexus NX 300 F-Sport as we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test run. Entering inside this NX 300 F-Sport, you're going to be getting 38.2 inches of headroom, 42.9 inches of legroom. F-Sport new look black deeply bolstered sports front seats. 10-way power adjustments for the driver include lumbar support, 8-way power adjustments for the passenger, heated and ventilated front seats, a 10.3-inch split screen multimedia infotainment. It's not touchscreen. You will get your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, HD radio, Wi-Fi hotspot through Lexus Enforce with a CD player. You have touchpad to do everything derived for your infotainment. Dual climate control settings, 8 speakers, leather wrapped steering wheel with the perforated leather on the side. You got the paddle shifters, multi-function, and the F-Sport badging. The gauge cluster has a TFT gauge display that'll go through an array of information for the driver. And I like the fact that they have some, sports essence inside with the dash, with that metal look and the contrast stitching and the leather over the top. It just really sets a good flair. I feel very sporty and athletic inside here. In the center area, you have a little storage area here that's a hidden compartment. Cup holders. You can fit a 16.9 ounce water bottle with no problem, probably a 20 ounce. Opening up in here to your 2 USB and a 12 volt, some storage underneath the tray. And for your elbows, it's soft on both sides. I mean, it's a Lexus at the end of the day. The door panel gets that metal look inlays with the contrast stitching, one touch up and down for the windows. Storage, you could realistically only fit about 2 16.9 ounce water bottles because the back part can fit maybe some notepads or maybe a iPad or something like that. But for the most part, you got your moonroof, all the connectivity that you need. I like the analog clock because it sets that luxury flair. Let's check out the back seats. For the back seats, I'm at 38.1 inches of headroom, 36.1 inches of legroom. Because of the way these seats are bolstered in the front, I can fit without any issues. My legs are not touching them, which is a good thing. We're going to see how I look in the center here in a second. Cup holders, you can fit maybe a 20 ounce. 16.9 ounce water bottle fits kind of tight. 2 air vents, storage behind both of the front seats. Door panel gets the same metal look inlays, kind of a carbon fiber twist with the contrast stitching, the tweeter on the top. Storage, you could realistically only fit maybe 1 at the most 2 16.9 ounce water bottles. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center without the seats reclined, my head is pretty much completely against the headliner. My legs are grazing the back of the front seat in the position that I'd be sitting. So it's going to be a little tight, and I'm blocking the vents that are for the back seat. Now the nice thing, if you recline this back, and as you can see, headroom, no problems at all. Legroom, I'm still grazing the back of the front seats and blocking the only vents for the rear. I'm going to be sharing shoulder space and leg space because the floor isn't completely flat. The nice thing though is when you recline it, it's a pretty relaxed fit, even for people on the side. Taking the NX 300 F Sport out for our ride. The nice thing about these small compact SUVs is you can get in and out of anything, and you're going to get that Lexus ride quality with the suspension. So going over any impurities, barely going to feel anything because it's a Lexus at the end of the day. So I do like the fact that they're doing that. I wish it had a little bit more horsepower derived, but it is a smaller vehicle, so it should be pretty good with what it has. The seat quality in the vehicle as I proceed, it seems it hugs you. So it feels really good in that perspective. It does feel sport derived, and I like that you kind of sit up more. You can obviously fold the seat back and forth however you like, but it does have a good set to it the way it is. As for feeling bumps and whatnot, it kind of blocks out any of those impurities because of the comfort in it. The steering wheel, I like that they have the perforated on the side because that's where I tend to hold my hands most of the time for the steering wheel. So that way it got a good grip to it. 235 horsepower. We're going to see how this inline turbocharge is. So we're going to give it some gas. Front wheel drive. And I mean, it does a good job. Paddle shifters are working really well. You get up to speed pretty quick. You got the blind spot monitoring, so you don't have to worry in that aspect. If you're looking to save gas, just let the car do its own thing, putting it into 6th gear. I like the fact that it is a 6-speed as well, because you know, you're not going through so many gears, so you have a little bit of a higher RPM ratio with this 2.0 liter inline turbocharged engine. As for blind spots, you're gonna have some in the rear. And again, blind spot monitoring, no issues with that. You do kind of sit up a little bit higher than I would have anticipated. I like the hood that it goes downwards, because the way it ends, you can more or less tell where your front bumper is, and the fact that it doesn't look so wide, it makes that feel inside, so it feels super compact, and they do a great job with the room inside, considering the car isn't that wide. It doesn't feel that long either. As for brakes, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a standard braking system. You're not going to really have to worry too much in that category. Road noise, as you get up past 45, 50 miles per hour, it does get a lot louder, pretty much through the wheel well area. The windscreen, though, because it's really cut forward wise, it does feel super sporty. And to show you the dynamics, I mean, it's going to be a bit boaty, but you expect that. This is not something that is super sport derived. But the good thing is, if you need to go over anything, the ground clearance will do so, and you don't have to do anything like that of worrying, because you have more than enough ground clearance. So if you need to go to the grocery store, do it. Get your groceries, go over the speed bumps. You could go probably 10 miles, 15 miles without too many jerks, because the Lexus suspension is definitely a one-of-a-kind treat. And just driving it with normal speed, no problems with that. You're gonna hit more at a 2.5 to 3 RPM because of the size of the engine and because it's a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, there is 3 things that I like and 3 things that I dislike. Is anything more than that, I'd be buying this vehicle. The 3 things that I like: the ride quality, Lexus does a great job with that. I mean, you never feel hardly anything. The next thing that I like, the bolstered seats. It really has a good feel and texture to it. And the third thing that I like is how sporty and athletic it feels inside the cabin. I mean, unless you're driving it, looking at it through a camera perspective, I can see maybe people will be like, it's not that sporty. But it really does have a sport pizzazz to it when you're driving the vehicle. 3 things that I dislike is, I wish it had over 250 horsepower. It's not necessarily something that it needs. It actually goes pretty good for the most part. 0 to 60 is in the 7-second category, which is pretty much where all small SUVs are. But I think it would be a little bit more fun if it was like 250, 260. The second thing that I dislike about the vehicle is the fact that we do not have navigation, and it's not a touchscreen. I know that's 2 things. We're going to put it as 1. When you enter into Lexus, give us a navigation and give us a touchscreen. The third thing that I dislike is the tow rating being 2,000 pounds. I wish that was at least 3,500 pounds. We're gonna check that turn radius now, try to do it at a stop point as best as we can. You're gonna get about 2 lanes, give or take, giving it some gas. You're gonna hear that exhaust note, which is something that I definitely like. And it really does perform good. And I know I did say I wish it had over 250 horsepower, but realistically speaking, if it did, you would be getting a 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds, in which you already have all the sport pizzazz in it. So just give it a little bit more pep into that engine. But as for everything else, I mean, comfortable. It's not like I need to put my arm here. So realistically, everything that's configured is easy reach and exactly where it needs to be for the driver or passenger. For the back seats, it does lack some amenities, which you can obviously upgrade if you wanted to spend the extra money. But as it sits, I feel the options is pretty good for what it's worth and what you're going after. We're going to take this back to Lexus with Wesley Chapel, go over the reverse camera, and wrap this review up. Switching to reverse, you do have trajectory. It's a clean screen. You got the tow line as well. Click onto here and you can change the viewing of the camera as well. I'd like to thank Carlos here at Lexus of Wesley Chapel for giving us this 2021 Lexus NX 300 F Sport for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click that subscribe button. Check out the details of merchandise and everything we do here at Hawkeye Rides.